aim for another target. Caparzo bleeds to death and passes away. Wade pulls a blood-stained letter that Caparzo had been writing to his father from the body, and Miller stares down on his body and brutally informs his soldiers that this is why they follow orders and don't steal children. The squad and the other soldiers take a seat inside a bombed structure in another area of the village to relax. One of a sergeant's men is sent to locate their CO. When the sergeant sits down, he topples a crumbling brick wall, exposing a group of German soldiers inside. A standoff develops as both parties demand that the other lay down their weapons while simultaneously aiming their firearms in each other's direction. When the Germans are killed by machine gun fire from the unit's captain, Ted Danson, and the soldier ordered to find him, the standoff unexpectedly comes to an end. Miller inquires as to the presence of a Private Ryan, James F., and his group. Ryan, Nathan Fillion, is escorted to Miller, who informs him that his siblings are dead, after the captain confirms that he does. When the man sobs and asks how they died, Miller responds that they were slain in battle. Ryan expresses surprise and informs Miller that his brothers are still in elementary school. Miller asks the man for his full name and discovers that he is James Frederick Ryan from Minnesota. Frustrated, Miller assures Ryan that his brothers will be okay. The squad hears that Ryan might have gone to the Airborne's rallying location from another 101st affiliated private who is receiving treatment for a leg wound. The team takes some time to rest in a chapel. The blood-stained letter Caparzo intended to send his father is revised by Wade. Miller and Horvath discuss the number of guys Miller has lost while serving under his command. Miller is aware that soldiers lose their lives in battle for a greater good. Corporal Upham discusses a betting pool the guys are participating in where they try to determine Miller's pre-war employment with the captain. Miller and Upham agree in jest that he will reveal Upham the solution once the pool is large enough. A crashed troop glider is nearby when the squad reaches a rally point. There are a lot of injured soldiers at the rally point. The glider's pilot, who is seated among the men, informs them that he is unsure of how to locate Private Ryan. The pilot's glider crashed after being towed because it was too heavy to fly because steel plates had been welded to the underbelly of the glider to protect the general the pilot was transporting. The general was killed when the glider crashed. The squad considers the efforts made to safeguard just one man. A bag filled with dog tags from fallen troops is given to Miller by the pilot. Miller orders his guys to go through them for Ryan. They act in a fairly heartless manner while Army airborne soldiers pass by. Wade sighs that his teammates are behaving pretty coldly in front of the passing airborne soldiers as he approaches and begins grabbing the tags. Miller comes to the conclusion that Ryan isn't one of them, and in a brief moment of desperation, he starts to ask the passing soldiers if they know Ryan. He strikes gold with one soldier from Ryan's team who, due to a grenade blow, has lost his hearing, so he shouts his responses. The soldier informs him that Ryan was assigned to a mixed unit that is manning a bridge in the adjacent village of Ramel that spans the Merderet River. Miller concludes that because it will allow both the Army and the Germans to get their tank battalions across the sea, the bridge is crucially important. The squad departs once more. They identify Ryan as not being one of the two dead GIs they find in a field. A machine gun nest is discovered by Miller and Horvath close to a partially destroyed radar dish. Miller decides to destroy the German position in order to prevent the next Allied unit from being taken by surprise and being murdered, even though Reiben's suggestion to keep their distance from the machine gun and sneak past it would be simpler. The squad objects to the idea, but he won't back down and assigns them their tasks. Upham is told to remain behind with their equipment. While Upham observes through one of Jackson's rifle scopes, the squad launches an attack on the machine gun post. The men shout urgently for Upham to bring their equipment when the skirmish is done. Wade has been shot multiple times in the lower chest and is rapidly bleeding to death when Upham arrives at them. Wade says he wants to go home as he passes away despite the men's desperate attempts to save him. When one of the Germans, Jorg Stadler, is taken alive, the team swarms around him and beats him as retaliation. Wade and the two GIs they spotted in the field are to have their graves dug by Miller, who isn't sure how to deal with the German POW. Miller sternly instructs Upham to assist the German despite Upham's protests that prisoners shouldn't be treated like slaves. Miller sits to one side and sobs as the German continues to dig the graves, his right hand shaking once more. He gradually regains his composure and joins the squad again. With the exception of Upham, who has only faintly befriended the German as he dug the graves, Miller's crew wants to kill the last remaining German. The German pleads for his life while proclaiming his love for America and yelling, "Fuck Hitler." When Miller steps in, the men are unmoved and getting ready to kill him with their weapons. To the surprise of the squad, he blindfolds the German and tells him to surrender to the following Allied force before letting him walk away. Miller's compassion particularly offends Reiben, who makes a threat to Desert by claiming that their mission has resulted in the deaths of 2 of their companions. Reiben is told to form up by Horvath, who also holds out the threat of lethal force. Miller unexpectedly inquires about the sum of the pool on Upham as the entire squad